That's the shiny black death machine. I'm gonna ride it like I stole it. We're on our regular Friday evening rip down to the beach, so come on and join us.
I can ride my bike with no handlebars.
Greetings, moto guys and moto gals, and welcome back to the 333. And you know what? Motorcycling is awesome. I'm out here in the middle of the Pine Barrens.
Hello.
Where the fuck you been?
We're down the Pine Barrens.
Yes, thank you, Paulie. And I'm on a shiny black motorcycle. I got a wide open road. Beautiful summer night, heading to the beach. What's not to love, right? But in this vlog post, we're not going to talk about the usual sunshine and unicorns that we always talk about with motorcycling. We all love it. In this post, I'm going to talk about the things that actually suck with motorcycle riding.
'Cause Peter, you suck. Peter, you suck. Peter, your music is fucking terrible.
Because there are some things that suck about riding a motorcycle. Not many, but there's a few. What's up, my brother? Oh, that guy looked like, wow, what was that character from Batman? Wow, I think that was him. Anyway, what sucks about motorcycle riding? So we're going to start off with the easy ones first. One thing that sucks about motorcycle riding are these little straight jackets for your hands. Let's put this in the right context. Motorcycle gloves don't suck for what they do, which is to protect your hands, right? You go down, you want to have gloves on. You always want to wear full gear. You always want to have your gloves on. But aside from turning the throttle and squeezing the clutch, there's not a whole hell of a lot you can do when you're wearing motorcycle gloves. I can't do shit in motorcycle gloves. I can't get toll money out. I can't pick my nose. And so that's kind of like, I don't know, it's sort of a sucky part of riding a motorcycle. Because if you do come to a toll booth, or sometimes occasionally when I'm riding on this road, I'll see paramedics down here and I want to give them a donation and I can't get my wallet out of my pocket because I can't unzip the zipper on my pocket. Tar snakes. So, although I love my gloves for what they do, it kind of sucks not being able to do anything else in them. What's another thing that sucks about motorcycle riding? Or that can suck about motorcycle riding? So parking and sort of moving your bike around when it's kind of stationary sucks. Right? Like, so this bike, while I'm moving on it, it's just really nimble and easy to ride. It's great. So this bike, you know, as long as it's moving, as long as it's going, you know, even if you're going at slow speed, it's easy to handle. But the moment you get like in a parking lot and you have to kind of jockey this thing around and kind of duck walk it and do everything else on it, man, this person's going slow. The moment you have to, you know, maneuver the thing without, you know, actually riding it is when it sucks. And I've almost dropped this thing a couple times trying to kind of just, like with my 500, I could literally throw that thing around like it was a big scooter. But with this, no way, man. I have to like really kind of think about where I'm sort of going with this and moving with it. And I have to be really careful of how like top heavy it is. So maneuvering a bike when it's not running, pushing it around, maneuvering a parking space, that kind of sucks. We're working our way up here. These are kind of minor things, but these are things that I know when I started riding, I never even gave a thought to. Like, I didn't even consider anything about, like, you know, what, I never considered what the sucky part of riding on a motorcycle was. And it wasn't until, and it's actually a good point now, I've actually been riding for 1 year now. I'm at my 1 year mark. So I'm no longer really like a noob rider. I'm kind of like a first level intermediate rider now. I'll give myself that. But when I was starting out, and I'm sure maybe a lot goes for you guys too, I never considered what the sucky part was of riding a motorcycle. I was like, it's all good. Every part of it is great. So there's a phenomena that I will call butt fatigue. So butt fatigue sucks. And butt fatigue, like some people, I guess it's sort of a combination of, you know, stiffness and swamp ass combined together. But if you're on the bike for a long time, you get like butt fatigue. So your butt kind of starts hurting, and no matter like how you shift around or where you move to, you kind of can't get comfortable. And even if you have like a really comfortable bike with a really sort of expensive seat, like a Corbin or something, it still kind of sucks. You still get butt fatigue. So butt fatigue sucks. The only way you can really deal with it is sort of like standing up, getting out of your saddle a little bit, stopping and taking a break, you know, that kind of stuff. But other than that, there's not a whole lot you can do. You just kind of got to suck it up and deal with it. Another thing that, since I've been riding for a year, that I've encountered that I never would have given a thought to, ever would have given a thought to, is like very remote red lights. Right? So on this rip down the shore and back, I kind of go through some farmland and I come out to some lights that no one like is sitting at. And they just will not change. The lights will just not change if you're on a motorcycle. And I think it's a pretty well-known thing, especially if you're an experienced rider, you've encountered this, and it sucks. I mean, there's this one light that I sat at for 10 minutes, and it has a red light camera on it, and I just sat there, and I saw, you know, I saw a post by Fort9 on this, and his solution, and I haven't tried it. I'd love to hear in the comments if anyone has tried the Fort9 solution. But supposedly, if you get a couple of those really strong magnets, you know, those super strong magnets, and you put them underneath of the frame of your bike, supposedly that'll trigger these red lights. I mean, supposedly magnetic interference will trigger them. That's according to his. If I can find it, I'll put the link into the post that he put for that. It's like one of his like motorcycle hacks. You know, his inexpensive motorcycle hacks. I never tried it. I'm curious to know if anyone has, if it works, because it's ridiculous. Some of these lights, like I watched this one light just recycle. It was going to change, and then it recycled, and it stayed green. It was so infuriating. So eventually, I just blew it. Red light camera and all. I mean, I never got a ticket, but I was like, I can't sit here. I was sitting there for like 10 minutes. It was ridiculous. So really remote, obscure traffic lights suck on a motorcycle. Well, then of course we've got to get into the whole, you know, category of weather, right? I know my personal thing, my personal high-level suck on a motorcycle is weather that gets below, I'd say about 48 degrees. I'm trying to actually, you know, accurately pinpoint my exact temperature threshold. I think it's about 48 degrees. That goes right through you on a motorcycle, especially on a naked bike. If you have no wind protection, you get under sub 48 degree temperatures, man, and I don't know, it just, you know, that really sucks to me. Rain sucks, but doesn't suck as bad as you would think it sucks. I've ended up riding in the rain about 6 times now this summer. I put Shiny B in rain mode, and it was a champ. I mean, didn't spin out. I didn't feel unsafe on it at all. It really was kind of gripping the road pretty good, all things considered. And I mean, there were some sections of the road that had a couple inches of water ponded up on it. And, you know, aside from being soaking wet and, you know, steam coming off the engine and, you know, the visor being continually, you know, I have an anti-fog insert in my visor, which works great. But, you know, you're constantly covered with water, and you're kind of trying to you know, wipe the water off of your visor. But aside from that kind of stuff and just sort of the discomfort of being wet, you know, rain is not the worst weather thing that you could be in. So it's not bad. The only downside is it gets your bike really crusty, dirty. You know, you get caught in the rain once and your bike's just filthy. So, so I put rain midway on the suckage scale. The least sucky weather to ride in is heat. I would take the heat over anything else, because the heat is just, I feel like the heat is just easy to deal with. Some people don't like the heat, you know, and in all fairness, I'm not, like, we don't have like Arizona oven heat here on the East Coast, but we get that like really uncomfortable humidity where you just feel like you can't really get it out of your face. So that's not really too fun. But for the most part, heat doesn't really bother me, you know, because you can always like pull over, get it some shade, take your gear off, drink, cool yourself off. There's really ways that you can mitigate the heat, and so the heat bothers me the least. I just got creamed by a bug, so that brings us to the next one. So at the end of last summer, I had absolutely zero appreciation for dealing with bugs on a motorcycle. Bugs, now we're working up our scale. Bugs freaking suck. Bugs suck, man, especially in the middle of summer. Bugs suck. And this summer, man, I've just had so many bugs, like on my bike, in my mouth, up my nose, in my ears. Anybody that has any kind of expertise or knowledge or interest in insects, feel free to comment on this. But apparently in the Northeast this year, we're having one of these big cicada broods, so they're just everywhere. And earlier in June, when I did this ride, and I came home a little bit late as the sun was setting, they were literally dive bombing the bike. And they hit you, and it freaking hurts. And I mean, they're like bird strike. I don't know if this is correct or not. Apparently dragonflies are predators of cicadas. I don't know. But there's been these monster dragonflies that are also flying around, and I mean, when they hit you, it's really like hitting like a small bird. It's kind of crazy. So bugs are working the way up the suckage scale. Bugs suck. The worst thing about riding a motorcycle, hands down, is right in front of me and right behind me and right to the side of me. It's distracted drivers. Hands down is the worst part about riding a motorcycle. If you're an experienced rider, you know this well. You have been pissed off, annoyed the way I have. If you are a new rider, buckle up, because the amount of shitty, distracted drivers out there is insane. There's a female vlogger, she goes by the name of ItsKatKam, I believe. She's really good. She's on the West Coast. You know, rides really cool sport bike with her boyfriend. They did a bit, I don't know, I'm going to say a week or two ago. I watched it. All they did was they took their bikes out, and she's really funny. She has a really cool personality. She's got a great sense of humor. Really young, sharp female rider. Her and her boyfriend Alex went out on their bikes, and all they did was just count up the number of people talking on the phones. And it was an eye-opener for me watching that vlog post. And she was like joking around and laughing about it and kind of like shaming, like sort of shaming people a little bit. I was getting pissed off watching it. Not pissed off at her or her vlog post, pissed off at how many people were on the phone. I couldn't believe it. It was astounding. And what I had alluded to earlier, just coming out here tonight, I got cut off 3 times by drivers. 3 times. It's the most that I've been cut off since I've been riding. The most. So the suckiest thing about riding a motorcycle has nothing to do with riding a motorcycle. You know, I'm not going to say I'm perfect. I'm not going to say that while I'm riding, if a text message comes in that I don't read it, but I'll react to the phone. you know, I'm not perfect. You know, I use my GPS on my phone if I need to go somewhere, but I like to take steps to kind of mitigate being distracted in my car. And I think there's a lot of things that you can do to be safer in your car, and that I think people need to do. There is no text message or phone call that can't wait until you either get to your destination or pull over or whatever. You don't have to try and text while you're in the car. It's stupid and it's dangerous. And it's like on an equivalent level with drunk driving, man. It's ridiculous. It's another intersection where people do dumb shit. There's like certain like dumb shit intersections. I don't know what it is. They're like a vortex for stupidity. So we are heading back. I'm gonna stop at my favorite little gas station, get the Shiny Bee a drink, gotta water my horse, and head back home. Oh, that's nice. See all kinds of nice little snippets of scenery on this ride. That's why I really love it. Like that. That's beautiful.